All right. So you actually, I think this is like a combination. You made like one of my favorite songs. It's a combination of like Ray and Juju. It's Go Crazy, right? So when you make a song like that for two big names from New York and the South, how do you make a beat that you think will represent both of them, or even come up with a production that you think would go good with both of them?
That's a good question. Where I started was the East Coast, and I came to Atlanta. I had to figure out where I was fitting in Atlanta. And at that time, it was a lot of trap music. And I was like, yo, how do I become different? What sound can I do? So I kind of like incorporated the East Coast sound with a down south kind of sound. And I just went for like people like Tip and Jeezy and those guys that actually knew how to do different bounces. So I was like, man, I need to do some up-tempos with some of these guys because I knew Tip always did them. Jeezy hadn't had none at the time. And I was like, man, this is what's going to make him his mark when he's, going to New York, or he's going to Philadelphia, he's going to Chicago, going to West Coast. He'll have something to go that resonates with everybody, and that was the sound. And Jay-Z wound up being part of it later after he heard it. He presented Jay-Z, and Jay-Z was like, I need to get on that.
What did that feel like for you? Was that like a moment for you? Or?
Yeah, that was a moment because as I was coming up, like, I don't know if anybody know the story, but when I was coming up, it was super hard to, be in Atlanta and be from up north. They had this slogan when I was DJing. It was like, if you don't like the A, fly away. You know what I mean? So that was like,
heard that before. That's a little mean.
That's a Goody Mouse song.
Yeah, that was a big thing. And some of the times I was DJing Visions and all the big parties for some of the celebrities, I was playing like Lean Back and some of the stuff in the club, and sometimes they look at me like, all right, man, you got 3-4 more of these.
Yeah, wrap up that New York stuff.
You got 3 more of these. Like, it was crazy. I'm so early in DJing in Atlanta that when I was playing up north, it was an up north set. You know what I'm saying? That's how crazy it was.
It ain't even like that no more. That's crazy. It was
an up north set. I had 15 minutes in the classroom to get busy, and that was it. So I kind of like, coming up and just trying to make it in Atlanta, I didn't know when I was going to be solidified as a producer. And I feel like when Jay-Z got on the record, that helped me. It's like, I'm supposed to be here.
I feel like we have one thing in common. You're really good at what you do, but I almost feel like you hate having to do it.
I do sometimes. I do.
Because when people talk about you, by the way, your team does a great job, but I was in the studio with somebody and I was asking about an artist, and I ain't gonna even say the name because I don't do that, but I was asking about an artist, and he was like, man, he was the shit when he had Cannon. He just need Cannon. And I'm like, well, why don't Cannon go hit him? He was like, Cannon don't give a fuck. Cannon's like, I'm not gonna chase him to make, and I'm like, I feel like when you get so great at your job, you like, bro, I'm not about to chase you.
Yeah, it's
to
the
help
mastery.
you.
It's the mastery, bro. And for a long time, that was my, quote unquote line is, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I felt like when I got in these spaces where people didn't want to listen, I just walk away. Somebody else is going to beg me for that knowledge. So I'm just going to say, here, you deserve it. If you want to walk away from that,